want chicken tendies.
Naranga, of all of Earth's kaiju, you are definitely the worst.
Shut up! Get me my chicken nuggies!
I'm afraid not, for I, Ultraman, am going to stop you with the power of my Zet Crusher Beam! So once upon a time, there was a man named Eiji Tsuburaya, a visual effects artist who cut his teeth working on this obscure little series you've probably never heard of called Godzilla. And as Eiji sat there working on these giant monsters, he couldn't help but wonder to himself, what would it be like to wrestle one? A fiery burst and a stream of light, a cloud of, and a mighty hi-ho! 1966 saw the debut of Ultraman, a 53-meter-tall luchador from the Land of Light just beyond Nebula M78 who can shoot lasers out of his hand, the star of a show made by Tsuburaya Productions out of whatever leftover Godzilla props old Eiji could run away with. Not even kidding, Naranga here was made out of a leftover Baragon costume. And before anybody mentions it, I know Ultraman was spun off of the Twilight Zone-esque series Ultra Q, also by Tsuburaya Productions, but let's face it, Ultraman is the only reason anybody even remembers Ultra Q. The formula for Ultraman is pretty simple. It's like Power Rangers, but replace the combining robot with a giant wrestler man. Indeed, most episodes see the current Ultraman releasing his power and wrestling the new giant monster of the week. There's generally a lot more roughhousing in this show than your typical giant monster fare or tokusatsu series. Does it work well, though? You tell me! Yeah! Ultraman has some really sick moves! There's big takedown spins and body slams and elbow drops! It's insanity! The suit designs with the less clunky parts make it more suited to this sort of roughhousing, especially since a bunch of these, like the suit for Red King, might as well just be mostly padding. However, unlike other series such as Godzilla or Kamen Rider, Ultraman is a lot more based and humanity-pilled, with each series having a task force to deal with monsters, helping out Ultraman as often as he helps them. As a sort of, the perfect way to explain this, while Shin Godzilla sees the world tremble from the emergence of a single monster, the world of Shin Ultraman, the sort of spiritual successor to Shin Godzilla by the same director, sees them knocking out 5 Shin Godzilla-level threats in the first 2 minutes. Oh no, it's a radioactive monster!
I eat radiation, and now I'm dead. Ugh.
Where Godzilla is a symbolic punishment of man's misdeeds, Ultraman is a being who has faith in humanity, often compared to something like an angel, and not without due cause, as Eiji Tsuburaya himself was a practicing Catholic. It also never really shed the Twilight Zone influences of Ultra Q, so it's not unusual to see whatever this Ultraman's version of the science team is dealing with some sort of mystery before any sort of giant monster appears. And it can get very silly.
You know, guys, it just dawned on me how weird this film is, you know?
Yeah,
It's kind of goofy.
Ultraman is a cultural phenomenon across Eastern Asia and the world. Odds are good you have seen something that was inspired by Ultraman and just did not recognize it. Yes, that includes Evangelion, down to its use of Christian symbolism. Oh, remind me, who directed Shin Ultraman again? Right. Yeah, sorry Toku fans, I know a lot of you are big on Kamen Rider, but if anything Toku appears on this channel that isn't just straight up Power Rangers, it's probably gonna be Ultraman. I think it's because I'm an optimist, Superman is my favorite superhero as well. As far as recommendations go, the original 1966 series is worth a watch for the groundwork it lays, and it even has an English dub that was mostly shown in Hawaii, and it's a Speed Racer era dub, so take that as you will.
Listen, even though Fuji's one of us, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that she's a girl, and they're very hard to figure out, aren't they?
I heard that, Ito.
and I'll argue about it someday.
Uh-oh.
Other early era shows include Return of Ultraman, the stellar Ultra 7, and of course the fever dream that is Ultraman Taro. Ultraman Tiga is pretty popular and breathed new life in the series, complete with its own attempt at a 4Kids launch overseas, though it can take some time to click and is very much the victim of a licensing kerfuffle for which nobody has reckoned. Mabius is regarded as a triumph, thanks to it being the final send-off for Tsuburaya Productions as an independent studio, but my favorite of the more modern Ultras is Ultraman Z, also with an English dub. I like it as it sort of tackles all of the dilemmas a typical Ultraman can face. I mean, they managed to make the clip show episode both interesting and meaningful. That in itself is an accomplishment. There is also Ultra Galaxy Mega Monster Battle, which is like Pokemon if it locked the heck in. Also, massive kudos to the guy who pulls off a backflip in that monster costume. Shin Ultraman is great, worth watching for the coffee scene alone, and Ultraman Rising is pretty good, though you can tell it wasn't originally going to be an Ultraman project. I mean, they tried to make you feel bad for Neronga, and nobody likes Neronga. It's not hard to find other recommendations, these are just the ones I like, and wait, why were we here again? Oh right, the card game. So recently you might have heard that, for their 70th anniversary, the Godzilla franchise announced that they would be making a Godzilla-themed card game with my least favorite card game company in about a year or so. So imagine the cojones it took for Tsuburaya to slide into the conversation and be like, our game is out right now. That's a power play if I've ever seen one. Then again, the Ultraman game was announced like a year ago, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Godzilla game was a knee-jerk reaction to it. So, a new card game all about Ultraman recently came out, and it's not a Bandai-driven Duel Masters clone! Our long national nightmare is over! Now, Ultraman has actually been featured on a number of card games in the past, usually as some sort of tie-in with games like Battle Spirits. And imagine my surprise when it turned out this game is not only not made by Bandai, but got a simultaneous international release. And I suppose it makes sense. With awareness of the series at an all-time high thanks to Ultraman Rising, it seems like a good enough time to strike while the iron is hot. Put simply, the Ultraman card game isn't a game where you build resources and minions. It is instead a one-on-one best of 5 that allows do-overs, so to say. More on that in a moment. I was able to get my hands on the Zero Geed Zet starter deck, and another copy of the Zero Geed Zet starter deck. Yeah, the place I bought from was out of the Tiga decks, but it's fine. I did say I liked Ultraman Z after all, and these three are basically a companion series anyway. All of the decks contain cards at near or full playset, meaning good consistency with room to wiggle, just like how I like it. There's even a bonus booster pack. Only in Japan. As for the other contents, along with our deck we get, a playmat with the rules printed on the back.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Well, at least the cards that are listed as foil are foiled in every copy that's included, and the card backs may look plain, but they have this neat swirling texture when you take a closer look. The art is either original artwork made for the game, or incredibly clean screen grabs. Nothing like the dark ages of the 90s or 2000s at all. Also, thankfully, this is probably the game that actually needs a playmat the absolute least, so you can probably learn the game without this playmat at all. And now, I just need an opponent.
I want the stronger deck.
Neronga, these decks are literally identical.
And I want the better one.
Fine, here you go. To play a game of Ultraman, you need a 50-card deck at maximum 4 copies per card. These cards consist of Ultramen, monsters, which work mostly the same as Ultramen, and scenes. To start a game, players draw 6 cards from their deck. They can mulligan their entire hand once if they like. Ideally, you have mostly level 2s with some level 1s and level 3s, and perhaps a monster and a scene.
I'm gonna kick your butt.
Sure you will. So to start a round, both players pick a character card to put into play. At the top left is the character's level. Now, levels actually do matter in the overall game, which I'll get into later. I'm pushing a lot of stuff aside, I know, but you can play a level 2 or even a level 3 just straight out of your hand. Why don't we get started with Mr. Zet here? After playing our cards face down, we both reveal them at the same time. 3, 2, 1, and 10,000?
Yeah, I gave my friend Skull Gomera a call, and he's gonna kick your butt right in the butt.
So my butt has its own butt now?
It will once he's done with you.
By the way, that 10,000 number I was freaking out about before, that is found here on the bottom left corner of the card. This is the Ultraman or monster's current power, and in this case, since both of our characters are single grade, we use the one on the left. There are other numbers on these cards, and we will get to them later. Well, it looks like I lose this one. Like I said, these cards do stay in play, so instead, we are going to turn Mr. Zet sideways to show that he is losing this battle. And now, we start over. Both players draw a card from their decks and repeat the process again. In a new spot, we put down a new character. You know, I have a funny idea. Let's put down Master Zero on this one. 3, 2, 1... Oh boy.
It's Zeton. He's kicked Ultraman's butt before, and he's gonna kick your butt's butt right in the butt. And now I'm just one step away from winning.
Again with the butts. Anyway, it's time to get to work. I'm gonna draw and I'm going to play a unit, but I'm going to do something else too. I'm gonna play some level ups. You can, after playing your unit card, level it up once by playing a card with the same character type and is exactly one level higher than the current top card. So I can play Geed Galaxy Rising, which is a level 1 Geed card, and follow that with a Geed Galaxy Burst, which is a level 2 Geed card.
I heard that.
Well, the best part is, remember how we left behind all these previous matches? Well, that's because these fights aren't over. You're not just limited to the current battle when it comes to playing a level up. You can go back and level up previous matches the same way, playing exactly one card of the same name and exactly one level higher. And yes, you can level up that same stack across multiple turns, meaning you can have as many as 3 cards on a stack. I'm gonna upgrade Master Zero. Okay, now 3, 2, 1, flip!
Haha! Looks like that's all, folks. I win! I win!
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let's check the stack. Geed is a stack of 2 cards, which makes him a double grade, meaning we use his double grade score seen on the bottom.
But Zet has an ability that makes him 1 grade higher when against a speed tap opponent. Looks like old Geed's met his match. I'm gonna kick your butt in Z butt. And that means I'm winning it all 3. So I win. It's 10 to time.
Not so fast, Naranga. There's still the matter of Master Zero. I leveled him up to level 2, Master Zero Talk to the Hand. As a double stack, his power goes up to 11,000, which is 2,000 points higher than Zeton. Now that we're in the judgment step, we take stock of every battle at once. While Naranga got me in the 3rd round, my correction to round 2 means that I am now the winner there, making it 2 to 1. It's not over yet. Which means it's on to round 4, and this time I'm going to play a scene card. As the lead player, I can play a scene card as long as its level is lower than the current round count, and there isn't already a higher level scene in the center. I am going to play the level 0 scene, His Majesty's Medal. By playing a scene, I get to draw an extra card. And now for some planning. I should be careful here.
I ain't gonna lose. I'm gonna win this time for sure. And then it's Tendy Tuesdays.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go!
Haha, it don't matter what you played, cause Ultraman Geed's special ability lets me up his grade by 1 as long as he's a double, buffing him up to 17,000 points. And you didn't play any grade ups this turn, so ain't nothing you can do.
Not so fast. I still have the scene ability. Before we move to Judgment Stage, we are allowed to activate abilities that our cards have in play. And since I control the scene card, His Majesty's Medal, I can, once per turn, change the type of my opponent of any of my 0, Geed, or Zet type cards into the armed type. I am going to use its ability to change Skull Gomora's type from Hazard to Armed. This activates Mr. Zet's ability where he gets +1 grade against an opponent that is the Armed type, meaning his power is now the same as Skull Gomora's at 10,000. It's a tie!
And the tie means we both win.
No, it means we both lose. It doesn't count for either of us.
But at the end of the turn, they go away, which means then I win.
Afraid not. Scores are only checked during the judgment step. So even though Mr. Zet goes back to normal at the end of the turn, it's not until the next judgment step that we check for a winner, which leaves us with a score of 2 to 1 to 1. And that means we're on to turn 5.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna clobber you into nothing. I'm putting my all into this one.
You say that, but you've made a pretty big mistake, Naranga. By playing all these power cards, you have nowhere to improve your grade. I, on the other hand, have lots of choices. I will put 2 down in our final row, 1 here, and finally 1 here.
Shut up! It's over once I unleash Master Zero at full power!
You say that, but on my side, I have Ultraman Geed, Master Zero, and finally...
Ultraman Z, Alpha Edge.
Let's go down the line, shall we? Round 1 has my Zet at a double, making him power 13,000. So now I'm winning round 1. And now my double grade Master Zero is hitting 13,000. And since your Geed's ability only works the turn it's played, he drops down to 11, meaning I'm winning here too.
No.
And now for the current round. This Geed is just like the one you played, and actually a fun little thing about him is that he can use his ability on any double Geed I have in play. So I could follow your playbook and power up this Geed, or I could do the same to the Geed in round 3, but I still haven't used the Scene effect. By changing your Zet Alpha Edge to an Armed type, Geed gains a grade, jumping to 14,000 and winning round 3, freeing up Geed Galaxy Rising to win round 5 with his own ability.
No!
And since I was already winning round 2, that means...
No, 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 no!
I win all 5 battles!
No!
I'm afraid it's no tendies for you today, Naranga. This is a blowout!
No!
So yeah, that's the Ultraman game. It has its ups and its downs, but it is certainly a fresh take, with the level ups and the ability to remedy rounds that were previously lost. It means that a lot of weight will be placed on the quality of the level 2 cards, which level up from the hopelessly weak level 1s and into the powerful level 3s. Now, level 1s aren't a total loss. While it's nothing but vanillas in the starter deck, I've already seen examples of level 1s performing effects like drawing extra cards and stuff. That is where level 1s will make their presence known, because let's face it, they're not winning any direct fights. That said, I think the big flaw of this game is the deck size. For a game that ends in about 5 to as few as 3 turns, 50 cards is a bit too big. Generally, a 50-card deck is one that incorporates more resources and is designed to last a bit longer. I honestly think that this game is more the type to want 40 cards, if just so it becomes more likely that the various pieces of each Ultraman are more likely to find each other. But to play devil's advocate, maybe that extreme level of consistency is not what they're going for here, instead wanting the games to be a little more desperate, like the fights from the Ultraman show themselves. And with how quickly these games can go by, I think you're just supposed to play a best of 3 matches anyway. We'll just have to see how this plays out. But yeah, Ultraman gets a thumbs up from me thanks to the sheer freshness of its ideas, ones that I already see developing into something amazing. I think we will be seeing lots of decks filled with level 1s that allow setup, level 2s that act as strong pivots, and level 3s meant to deliver the crushing blow, as well as kaiju 5s and 6s which can apply urgent pressure even in base form. I'd love to see a set more inspired by the Monster Battle series, with more of a kaiju focus, or an Ultra Q set for Halloween. Heck, technically Gridman wouldn't be out of place in here, as he was also a creation of Tsuburaya Productions. So yeah, there you have it. Decks are pretty cheap, even shipped, so I'd say give it a look if you're a fan of Toku anything. I honestly look forward to seeing what happens next, what other tricks will happen, like maybe some pulls from the deck or other switching effects, and so yeah, that's the Ultraman trading card game. Gets a thumbs up from me, and until next time, this is Kohdok signing off.